and at least to just slow the guy down, unless he's on PCP or something like that. In that case, just put it up to his and just let him go, you know what I mean?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to Ben Hart Shoots.
Good luck! All right, gentlemen, we made it. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today, very exciting video, long time coming. We have owned this gun for a very long time, but have finally got a chance to come out here and make a video about it. We're gonna be talking about the Bodyguard 2.0 today. So this is Smith Wesson's smallest concealed carry 380, extremely tiny, very capable, and one of my favorite guns. This is currently my wife's every single day EDC. It's probably got 350 rounds on it or so. Just like most people with 380s, you don't shoot them a whole bunch. Neither do we, but we do have some training ammo today. We got some Winchester white box. A little scared. Winchester tends to have some catastrophic malfunctions in certain guns. This is some flat nose, you know, almost like hollow point-esque ammunition. This gun chews through everything. So today we're going to be talking about first impressions, ergonomics, texture, reliability, capacity, everything. So let's go ahead and get into it. Mag dump reload to get us started. So we got the 12 round magazine right here and the 10 round in my pocket. This is no competition style gun, but let's see what she can do. It's definitely difficult to get the magazines in there when they're completely full. You can even see, we'll talk about this later, but you can see how much friction there is on the side of the magazines inside the magwell, just because it's such a thin funnel and the mags are so high capacity, 12+1 rounds and something this tiny. So definitely takes a little bit of encouragement, but let's go ahead and do a mag dump reload with both. We're out. Gotta reach in there. All right, not bad. I mean, not bad at all. Let's look at the target real quick. That skinnier magazine was definitely, the 10 rounder was a lot easier to get into the magazine, the mag well, than the 12 rounder. I think 12 might be pushing the strength of the metal and kind of pushing it out. 10 felt totally fine. But as you can see right here, we got, what is that, 22 rounds? Yeah, that's 22. So all 22 within the, you know, the head area, not alpha zone, but I mean, man, like a 380 that's that capable, it's pretty impressive. Guys, we all think about protecting ourselves and other people in the 2A community, but what about protecting your personal info online? That's where today's sponsor, Aura, comes in. Data brokers are companies that buy and sell your data without your consent. And what they do is they buy it and they sell it and they make billions off of it, but then they're legally required to remove your info if you ask them, but they make that process super difficult and way overcomplicated on purpose. Aura automatically reaches out to these companies on your behalf and requests that they remove your information from their databases, and they keep it off. I've been using Aura for a couple weeks now, and honestly, I am really impressed with how easy and simple the app is to use. And also, it's only been a couple weeks, and Aura has already requested from 34 different data brokers that my info be taken off of their databases. That's crazy, 34 in 2 weeks, that's insane. They even found that some of my data had been exposed in a data breach going back all the way to 2017. Aura also monitors your credit, alerts you to fraud, and helps protect your identity with real-time alerts, antivirus, VPN, and more. It's a all-in-one, easy-to-use app. Me personally, I use the VPN all the time because I am constantly using public Wi-Fi when I'm out traveling and editing these videos for you guys. One little small anecdote, it's kind of fun. Aura was able to tell me how many cars I've ever had in my life and every single model, which is kind of cool. I'm a big car guy. Turns out I've had 14 cars in my lifetime. That's cool and sad at the same time. I'm not really sure how to feel about that. Look, fellas, these data brokers are thieves, and I am not leaving myself exposed, and neither should you. So using my link down in the description, you can try Aura free for 14 days, and in those 2 weeks, you're gonna find out where your info is being exposed. Guys, you can directly support the channel by clicking the links that we provide down in the description for the sponsors that sponsor these videos. There are not many companies who are willing to associate themselves with 2A advocates or 2A adjacent people. So the ones that do are greatly appreciated. They're few and far between. So thanks again to Aura for sponsoring this video. Check out the link in the description. Now let's get back to the video. All right, all right, guys, so I have a bird brain, so I can't remember all these specs off the top of my head, but I'm gonna put the specs on the screen. I'm also gonna read them out real quick just to go over dimensions, capacity, size, stuff like that, and then we'll talk about the actual in-hand impressions. So Bodyguard 2.0, its MSRP is $449. That honestly is not bad at all. There are some 380 pistols, pocket carry pistols like the SIG P38. I think it is P38 or P380, something like that. Those are like upwards of $1,000 sometimes, anywhere 900-ish around there. The Ruger LCP Max may undercut this on price a little bit, but that gun, in my opinion, does not compete, I mean, pretty much at all with this one, except for capacity, but everything else is a much better gun. So technical specs of the Bodyguard 2.0, its width is only 0.88 of an inch, so it's under an inch wide. Overall length is 5.5 inches. It's about average, pretty good length. Height is 4 inches from the base of the flush fit magazine to the top of the slide. Weight is 9.8 ounces, under 10 ounces, so not even a pound, guys. That's pretty crazy. Capacity is the 10+1 magazine, which is this one right here. 10 round flush fit, just like that. In my hands, almost a full grip. It's right at the edge. I can barely get my pinky on it. Usually when firing, it ends up sliding underneath, which again, with this gun, it's actually not too bad. It kind of supports it a little bit, which is not, you know, horrible. And then you have your 12 round magazine right here with the extension on it, kind of like the Shield Plus, very similar to Shield Plus. And that, I wear large to XL size gloves, and that gives me a full grip on the pistol. Very impressive. Obviously, a striker fired. The barrel itself is 2.75 inches long, so 2 3/4 inches long. Very short barrel. They do have the carry comp version, so now it has a slightly longer slide, probably by about a 1/2 inch, I would say, and that has some porting in the top of the slide in the barrel to kind of help with some of the recoil. Again, it's 380, not much recoil to begin with, but I mean, I hate recoil in general, so the less of it, the better. It says the sights are black. They are. The rear is a serrated rear, U-notch style, but the front is kind of like a high-vis orange, and it is a night sight as well. So it says black, but I think they're more of like a black with a high contrast front. Great sights for concealed carry distances. As far as like just, you know, if you needed to real quick, pull this out of your waistband, point it out, the rear U-notch is wide enough to where you can pretty much get a good sight picture very quickly with these iron sights. So good iron sights for a very short iron sight radius pistol. And that's it on the technical specifications. So now we're going to talk about, we're just gonna make sure it's clear, we're going to talk about the in-hand impressions. So overall, I give, out of like a 9 out of 10, I give this pistol a 9.8 out of 10. There is not much wrong with this pistol at all. This gun, I think, fulfills its role and what it's intended to be, which is a pocket pistol or an extreme deep concealment pistol. You can literally put this in a pocket holster, stick it right in your pocket, totally disappears. Or you can run it, I've seen guys that run these in appendix sidecar style holsters, which is pretty high speed, but it is a little funny to see because the gun's so small. But this gun is meant to be an extreme close range, you know, not, I wouldn't say last resort, but you know, self-defense pistol within like 10 yards or so. So you really are prioritizing carryability in this case. The grip texture on the frame is aggressive on the back and the front, as you can see right here, but on the sides, it has kind of like this muted, more flat grip texture. Adds a little bit of something. It's not great, but it is something, a little bit of something for your fingers to grip onto in the center, but most of your traction comes from the front and rear. And this texture is, it's not, if you're wondering, it's not like the M&P 2.0. This is similar in theory, but it is not as aggressive as that. This is not going to chew you up like those do. I do have M&P 2.0 grip texture, and you can see the difference right here. Similar style, obviously, but the aggressiveness is like vastly different. This is definitely made more for, you know, deep concealment. You don't want it to tear up your shirt, tear up your pocket, stuff like that. Grip design and ergonomics on this pistol are fantastic. The shape of it is wonderful. I don't know how a gun that's under, well, what do we say, 0.88 of an inch, how it feels like it fills up my hand so well. Again, large to XL size hands, and this does not feel that much different than a full size gun. I will, like, confidently I can say that it is not that much different. They have kind of a bubble swell in the front here, as well in the back, and that really helps fill up the grip of my hand. I have no problem getting tactile control of this pistol during firing, manipulations, drawing, all that kind of stuff. And even with the full length grip, reloads are not that bad. Obviously, guys, you're not putting a mag wall on this pistol, but you know, if you're reloading like this, just gotta break your pinky off like that, reinsert, not pinching your hands or anything. Pretty simple. I mean, honestly, for a pocket gun, that's pretty incredible. Okay, so we're gonna go and talk about the magazine release on this thing. It's really nice. It's small, obviously. Everything on this gun is micro, but the knurling on this, it's metal. So this is actually metal knurling on here. It's really nice, extremely grippy, kind of like digs into your finger pretty well. Easy to actuate, not hard at all. Super consistent, not difficult. And I believe it is ambidextrous. You can flip it if you want to. There's no ambidextrous slide release on the other side, but there is ambidextrous magazine release. So for the lefties out there, you get a half of a help there. On the takedown lever itself, there is more texture However, this is not to actually like help when you're shooting. This is to make it easier for you to take down the gun. So when you lock it back, it's easier to push that lever down. If it was just smooth metal, that would be very difficult. But this is incredibly grippy, so that makes it really easy, which is awesome. On the front, they do give you kind of a memory pad to put your support hand thumb right there to kind of help drive down that muzzle. Texture is okay. I wish this was a little bit more aggressive. Reason being is if you are carrying this gun in a pocket holster, odds are it's likely covered on the front. So this is not going to be tearing up your pocket or anything like that, unless maybe you're using like just a trigger guard holster or something like that. So I wish this was a little bit more aggressive, just to give you something to kind of drive that muzzle down a little bit more. But overall, I mean, it's adequate. I just wish they would have done a little bit more aggressive texturing, personally. We talked about the iron sights already. I want to reiterate how appropriate this style of iron sight is for this gun. The LCP Max and most of the competitors of this gun don't even have real iron sights, and if they do, they're very bad. They're not good, or they're just like the old 1911 ones where it's just two pieces of metal kind of molded into the slide, like revolver sights. Think of revolver sights. These are actually real iron sights. This is a U-notch rear with a serrated back and an orange high-vis front. Really makes it easy to push this thing out and have excellent sight acquisition without having to really think about it much at all. It's very good. I'm a big fan of that. Talking about the slide, they basically took inspiration from the new My Spec series over here. These are not the fish scale, traditional fish scales that come on M&P 2.0s. The Spec series has a more, I don't even want to call it stylistic, because the fish scales are pretty fancy. They're pretty stylistic, I guess you could say. But these are a different style of front serration that is a little bit more simple. And as you can tell, these are pretty much borrowed straight from the Spec series right there. They're extremely aggressive and very usable on both pistols, but on this one especially, to be able to pinch that and rack this back like without I mean, it's super easy on the back and the front. Not a problem at all. Serrations are incredibly usable. I will say I'm just kind of a whore for serrations in general. I wish they would put them around the top. I know on the new the Carry Comp one, there are some, I wouldn't even call them serrations. They're like designs on the top. They have some X's and stuff on the top. That could help. However, I wish they would have just taken these serrations and brought them right over the top, just to help with press checking. But for a gun this small, press checking might be a challenge, might be a little dangerous too. So maybe they thought about that and I didn't, who knows. The barrel on this pistol is very tiny. Obviously it's very short, just a little guy, but it has been accurate. From the factory, a lot of people were complaining that the Bodyguard 2.0 sights were not on correctly. They were reporting a lot of left shots. They would shoot, center mass, and it would hit like 2, 3, 4 inches left. We also experienced that when we first shot this gun, and that was because the front sight was actually not aligned properly. So I would hope that Smith & Wesson has resolved that issue since then, since they've heard that, and all the ones they're putting out, they, adjust the machine that puts the sights on, or a human person does it. Maybe, they told that person or those folks to do it right. But I just took my sight tool and pushed it over a little bit, and now we're hitting accurate shots no matter what. So not bad at all. This thing chugs through self-defense rounds. It chugs through hollow points, FMJ, everything. Nice and easy, and it has been incredibly pleasant to shoot. For a 380, you would imagine it would be uncomfortable. Even though it's lower recoil, 380s are usually just not designed to be very ergonomic or shootable pistols in general. They're really leaning into the fact that they're just kind of like point and shoot pistols where you just kind of bring it up and let it rip. This, you can actually go to the range and like have a decent range session, practicing manipulations and reloads and malfunctions and things like that, because this pistol is basically just a 1-to-1 ratio shrunk down M&P 2.0, and I'm here for it. This thing is incredible. So let's go ahead and talk about the trigger. That is something that, again, on 380s is usually not very prioritized. The trigger shoe is very reminiscent of the M&P 2.0 trigger. As you can see right there, similar but different. You have this thin trigger shoe. Now I could do without this being so protruded. I think it kind of gets in the way a little bit. Could be a snag hazard as well, and it seems a little bit flimsy, but once you push it down, it's really flat and you don't feel it sticking out of the trigger guard or into your finger like you would like a Glock trigger. So if we go ahead and ghost the trigger together, there's your take up right here. You hit a nice hard wall, pull, 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 and a break. No creep at all. Take up, wall, pull, 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 break. There is a small molded ledge on the trigger guard right there. That is an overstop. So this, even if you pull through, you're not pulling it anywhere else, which is nice. You can't over pull the trigger, which is good. Not bad. And the reset as well, a little bit longer than some guns, but not bad. I would say reset is probably maybe a ½ inch of total travel on the reset. Yeah, I'd say about a ½ inch. Trigger's light, and I will say it's gotten lighter over time. When we first got it, it was probably closer to 5 pounds. This may be a pro or con depending on who you are, but this is probably closer to like 3 pounds, maybe 3.5. So it's a fairly light trigger. And this is one of the very first Bodyguards they made. So I'm not sure if the newer ones maybe have a more consistent trigger, but after a while, this one did break in, and we're probably right around the 3.5, maybe 4 at the highest end. But overall, very serviceable trigger. So let's load up a few more mags and shoot the gun, and we'll go to some final conclusions and wrap it up. Okay, so right now we are, I mean, literally we're probably 1, 2, 3, like 3.5, 4 yards. We'll do 5, so we'll go about right here. So this is, theoretically, this is what this pistol is designed for, right? Is like super close distance engagements. Someone trying to mug you, someone trying to steal your purse, your bag. That is what this pistol is for. So let's go ahead and do some very basic, on time, just one shots from low ready. Imagine this is a perp or an assailant, whatever, and they're sitting there saying, give me your money, and you're saying, stay back, and you want to point and shoot. That's what we're gonna go ahead and do. Okay, a little bit of a neck shot there. Kind of a low shot. Better. We're gonna push out. Okay, a little double tap. Little trigger freeze in that one, good shots though. One more. All right, let's check out the target. So again, this is not a target shooting pistol. This is self-defense at its most raw, right? Here's a fist right here. Most of those shots are in the appropriate spot. All these would have hit the guy. 380 is not as spicy as 9mm, but a few of these are gonna sting, especially if they're like horny critical defense or something like that. All right, guys, so as you can see here, we have, it's kind of a shitty holster, I'll be honest. This is a little simple Kydex pocket holster with an ulti clip on it. I like these in concept, but they're a little bit bulky as far as their profile, and they're made of sharp metal, so they can kind of catch on some stuff. But in this case, you could run it on the inside of your waistband like that. And as you can tell, completely disappears. I'm a pretty fat guy, and it disappears on my belly line, which is great. But you can still draw from it and everything. In this case, we are going to run it out of the pocket, just to emphasize how small the gun is, that it is a pocketable holster. We're gonna clip it on about right there. So with a long enough shirt, kind of goes over it. Obviously not as concealed as the waistline, but plenty concealed enough for going to check the mail or whatever it is. So let's go ahead and retry. Let's go ahead and do some drills on this steel target here. Let's walk it. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So about 12 yards away. Fun fact about me, my stride is exactly 3 feet. Very cool. So again, pocket pistol, 2 3/4 inch barrel. We're gonna see how fast we can get some draw and shoots with a micro tiny ass gun. So let's go ahead and do it on the timer. Okay, that was one shot in 2.11. Not bad. Guys, if you're ever doing this kind of stuff, the smaller you get, the smaller guns you get, and the more concealed type of draws you're doing, the more dangerous it is. So just be mindful, be slow, do a couple of practices, nice and easy. No one wants to accidentally blow their leg off, third leg. On the beeper. Okay, 1.63, that's pretty good. That is not too bad. Let's do one more time. That was a dirty grip, but I recovered 1.56. Let's see if we can break 1.5. This is a draw that I've almost never done, so 1.5. 1.44, not bad. So we got a few rounds left. Let's do some rapid fire so you guys can kind of just see how well balanced this gun is for being so small. So from right here, let's go and do on the beep. I probably have maybe 8 left. Here we go. Got a little trigger freeze and I was shooting left, but after I kind of recentered myself, I was hitting center mass on that target. So again, like imagine you're an assailant, you're a boo-boo guy, you're a bad guy, and you're trying to steal my wallet, and I have this thing in my pocket, and you're walking towards me with a, you know, a bat or something like that, this is a very Gotham City-esque. Maybe, I mean, honestly, it's like kind of like LA. Or Cleveland. God dang, Cleveland sucks balls. So let's imagine you're a bad guy, right? I'm right here. You're, you know, this is you. You're Mr. Jokester, and you're like, hey, give me your wallet. And I'm like, dude, I don't want it. Don't do it. Hey, you don't need my wallet, dude. You don't need it. You don't need it. I mean, I know it's just 380, but I just peppered that guy with hits down here, one here, up here, and here. At least 5 of those are hitting something important in your body, and is incredibly devastating. I mean, and at least to just slow the guy down, unless he's on PCP or something like that. In that case, just put it up to his and just let him go. You know what I mean? But actually, do we have one more? I kind of want to do that. Hold on. Keep it going. This is just for fits and shiggles. That's what I gotta say, so my mom doesn't get mad. Fits and shiggles. Okay, we got 4 rounds in here. My YouTube manual reviewer is not gonna like this one, but that's all right. You're home Skansky. I got this behind my leg, okay? Like this. And you're like, hey dude, give me your wallet. And I'm like, I would, in this situation, I would have it pre-chambered, of course. That would happen, you know, of course. You're a bad guy right here. Give me your wallet. And I'm like, give me your life. I don't care if it's 380 or 9mm. That at least is gonna give you second degree burns. Look at that, dadgum. It's really impressive. It is an incredibly impressive small pistol, extremely usable, and I don't really feel like there are many, I don't feel like I'm hindered in the way of being proficient with a firearm in a self-defense scenario with this gun. Just because it's small doesn't mean it's not effective. And that is what usually happens when you shrink a gun down. The smaller it gets, the harder it is to shoot, the harder it is to control, everything. And this gun, I think all those downsides just disappear because of how they designed it. So overall, the Bodyguard 2.0 is a massive success in my opinion. And with the new carry comp model, although it may be unnecessary, it's fun. It's cool that Smith Wesson is pushing the boundaries of their innovation, the performance center division, letting them have fun with these models, make compensated stuff, new slide designs, everything. Smith Wesson is a company that I love dearly. I want them to do well. I think they could do even better than they are now. They just need, you know, some different brand direction. And I think whoever is heading up Smith Wesson now, they have the Bodyguard 2.0 that came out. They had the new Smith & Wesson Shield X, so not a Shield Plus. It's a 12+1, 13+1 version of the Shield Plus, but with basically a Bodyguard features, just expanded. And it looks excellent. That's really great. They put out some new AR-15s. So in general, Smith & Wesson, I think they're on the up and up as far as bringing their models into modernity, which is great. But the Bodyguard 2.0, to this day, right now, what day is it? Sunday, August 3rd, to timestamp it, this is the best micro pocket 380 probably on the planet. And that's just my my crazy opinion. So real quick, we have a plate rack over here. We're gonna shoot those real fast, and that'll be the last thing that wraps up this video. So let's go do it. All right, guys, we're gonna wrap it up with the Smith & Wesson Bodyguard 2.0 little 380 pocket and rocket. I am going to, for fun, I don't even know if this is gonna push these steel targets down. We'll find out. I'm going to do a quick little plate rack with a 380 micro pistol and see how it goes, and then we'll wrap it up. That is not bad. That went a lot better than I thought it was gonna go. All right, guys. Smith & Wesson Bodyguard 2.0, incredible micro carry pistol, MSRP $449, street price around $399, around there. For that price, if this is a gun you're looking for, if you want this style of pistol, you want that micro concealment, in my opinion, there's nothing better right now as of today's date. So check out the Bodyguard 2.0. We've got a lot more content coming out. We've got some Ross Martin reviews, my AR-15 review, civilian versus police rifle. We've got a bunch of stuff coming out. So please subscribe, like, share the video. Follow me on X, follow me on Instagram. Trying to think that's it. I mean, whatever, you know what to do. I appreciate you guys. Till next time, talk less, shoot more. Peace. you.